Comrades and friends of Labour. Labour women, let me hear you. Central Basseterre, let me hear you. Market Street, let me hear you. I also want to hail up the listening and viewing public here in St. Kitts-Nevis, in the region and in the diaspora. And I want to say a special good night to Paul Payne and Sylvia Ward and to Ghislaine Williams in the United States of America. I first of all want to express condolences to Alfred Slims Williams on the unfortunate passing of his son, Ralston Williams, better known as Lambert Irie. Slims, as you know, lives right here in the Market Street area. We also want to pray for Petronella Merritt and Mrs. Caesar, who are both in the hospital, and for all those who are sick in the hospital and at home. Francis Buddy, Abel Lawrence, Mrs. Farrell right here in Dorset, Doris Liburd, Porter, Ingrid Richards in the US. I also want to say a special good night to Mama Hanley right here. Alvin James up the road and Aki. Caldota, I know she's listening. I see Mama Byron right here in the audience. And to all the Market Street and Dorset and Soho people, Nevis Street, College Street, Shadwell, Fremont Village, I want to say good night to all of you. I told you some time ago that whereas some people get all kind of big shot endorsement, I can stick with me little street people then. I love the endorsement. Them there is the real endorsement. So I want to thank Bless and Mosiah and Kester and Nikki for coming up here tonight to endorse me. Them is the real people are sticking with them. Them is my people. I also want to... Boss again. Something wrong here, man. Something wrong here. Something wrong here. Something wrong here. This is willful now. This is really willful. This is really willful. You see, the boss coming and talking again. I think it's deliberate. But Cutie says because he loved me. I hope so. I really hope so. I also want to hail up the Spanish people. Norjan say, I must say mi gente. You know, I know the Spanish. So mi gente, buenas noches. All the Spanish people. We have quite a few of them in the audience and living around here in Dorset. The bell has been rung and everybody finding the class. We opened a new office here on Kearn Street, and I could tell you we have 2 days of business today and it's like 2 months of business. People have been parading through and through non-stop. And I want to thank all of those young people who have volunteered to help in the office. Every day we get more young people saying, we want to work with the campaign. Put your hands together for young people who are volunteering day after day to work with this campaign. But if you notice, we have some shining stars on the stage. They mean a lot of things. It means St. Kitts-Nevis is a shining star. But it also means that in Central Basseterre, you have the only shining star looking straight at you here tonight. So we have bright stars shining, and we have a well-decorated stage. And I want to thank all those who did the decorations on the stage, and also to all of those people who night after night put up and take down the stage, clean up the place afterwards, Ronnie Rascal with the music, Charlie and all the rest with their logistics. Sometimes we don't see them, but they work long and hard, the Dan and Wendell and all the others. Put your hands together for the team who continue night after night to make sure that we are ready for these meetings. Thanks to all of them. Tomorrow, there's a matter in the court. But I want to say to you, whatever the outcome, Labour will win. As Asim said, the court will do their thing and we will do ours. And so our thing is to ensure that everybody voting for Labour. So go on the streets, go in all the crevices and the corners, send the good message that Labour is the best choice for St. Kitts-Nevis. Send that message out there. Labour is the best choice for St. Kitts-Nevis. And Labour is the best choice because under severe economic conditions and with turmoil within, the leader and the leadership has come out as a shining star. And so St. Kitts-Nevis is number one. Let me see your finger. Number one. We've come to shark-filled waters and now we are number one. Leadership is usually one of the big issues in any election because you have to know who is leading the country. And the truth is, there's only one choice, and that is Labour. You never change a winning coach. Look at games and you would see, if a coach winning all the time, you're going to change a coach? Well, why you want to gamble with your future and your children's future? People say, give them a chance. This is not a lucky dip. When you got a lucky dip, you put in and you take out and you say, give them a chance. That's not what we want for this country. This is not a lucky dip. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be able to steer the ship of state, else it will capsize. And right now, we just had a report from the IMF saying that on the 29th of January, this country made its third early payment to the IMF. Put your hands together for this government and this country. The third early repayment, signaling that the country continues to improve and the debt continues to go down. Where else in the world that is happening? Imagine 2 years ago, we are about 200% of GDP. Now, we are 80% of GDP. And as I said before, all these countries are supposed to meet a target of 60% of GDP by 2020. Right now, all indications are that only St. Kitts-Nevis will meet that target. Only St. Kitts-Nevis. Put your hands together for good leadership of this country. If we will meet that target by 2020, it means that the country is moving in the right direction and the government has the right plans and programs. Why you want to interrupt that? Why you want to interrupt that? And Labour is the best choice because Labour is the best thing for business. The business people saying they're making a ton load of money. Ton load of money, even them who are inclined to go to the other side saying, you know what, don't rock the boat. We're making too much money. They have a few of them who still think they want to change the government because they want economic power and they want political power. But you know who will suffer? Ordinary people of this country. So you will never make that mistake. So the business people are saying that Labour is the best choice for St. Kitts-Nevis. The young people are saying the same thing. You heard about the GRASP, the REACH program. You heard about the PEP. And I want to say to the PEP people that we will be taking PEP to the next level. So those of you who saying that you can't get any loans because financial institutions are saying that PEP is not permanent and they're not giving any loans, this government will correct that. So after the next elections, we will put something in place to ensure that the people on PEP can get the little loans so that they could go on with their life. This is a government for the people. We also will ensure that the PEP people can further their education. As you've heard, there have been discussions with a college in Canada so that people from PEP will go to Canada to upgrade their skills. This is a good government. This is a good government. So the young people saying they want Labour because under Labour they have a second chance. And don't forget, it was Labour and Labour alone. The other side was not there, and up to now, they have not commented on that legislation that we've passed to remove minor convictions from our young men in particular. so that they can have clean sheets and go on with their lives. Only Labour alone did that, because we know that we must be for the ordinary people and be able to give them a second chance. None of us is perfect. All of us make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we must try to see how we could help them to get up again and move on with their life. And that is what Labour is all about. And so Labour is for our young people, even our youngest. Look at the program that we've put in place for preschoolers. And I could tell you, the preschools around here, Lily of the Valley, Wings of Love, the Wesleyan Holiness Preschool, Salvation Army Preschool, all of them are saying to me, what a wonderful program. Because we have made it clear that all the preschoolers in private primary schools, this government will pay a subsidy of $25 per week per child. $25 per week per child. That would help to put more money in the pockets of parents, because that $25 will help to pay for your child's preschool in private preschools. It will also help the private preschools, because some persons who may not have been able to afford to send their child to a preschool can do so now, because Labour is paying $25 per child per week for private preschools. And I feel very proud that I was one of the persons who rallied for that, having visited all of the preschools, all of the private preschools in Central Basseterre. We rallied for that, and the government responded. And so I'm happy about that. Labour is also the best choice for women. I don't have to tell you. Highest leadership positions are held by women in this country. You look and you'll see one woman running. Whose side is that on? The only party that furthers the cause of women. And Labour is the best choice for workers. Long service gratuity, we passed that on our own. Look at what we did for those persons in Lyme. Change the legislation so they got their packages in December. Look at what we did for the women who were dismissed from Lutron. They also got their monies paid, because we say most of them, all of them as a matter of fact, are single women and they have their families to look for. This is a government that looks after workers. Currently we are changing the labor laws, because all the workers of this country know that that Protection of Employment Act really is a deception, like everything else. You know, it was brought in by the other side. It is not protecting any workers. Workers are being sent home willy-nilly, because there's nothing protecting them in that Protection of Employment Act. And so we are changing that to ensure that there's greater balance under our labor laws, so that workers can be truly protected. They must be truly protected, and Labour is ensuring that that happens. So Labour is the best thing for workers. Look at what is happening in the public service. We asked them to bear with us when things were tough. And after we start to see our way, 10% increase over 3 years, 4% in 2014. They just got another 3%, and they'll get another 3% in 2016. Where else you hear anywhere in the Caribbean, workers are getting increases? As a matter of fact, the money going down. They have to accept pay cuts, have to accept job cuts. But here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are doing increases. The highest minimum wage. But you know what? Don't take these things for granted. Don't take it for granted and think that it will just go on like that. Those are all things because of a Labour government who cares about the ordinary workers of this country. A working class government. So you have to make sure that your interest continues to be protected by voting for Labour.
This government good. This government nice. Good government. This government good. This government nice. Good government.
And I am not the only one who's saying that Labour is the best choice. So I want Ronnie to play that thing for me so you could hear that other people saying so too. Play that thing for me, Ronnie.
Basseterre have no room for permanent. Now let me tell you all something. This is about the most important election this country has had since adult suffrage in 1952. This is the most important election because the evildoers are in tour with some people in town to rob the poor people of all the tax if they get into government. And you have to decide if you're going to put into government, protect your interests, or a party going to give up. What for grand be for you, grand for grand? You think grandfather could be for you? You think Billy Howard's sisters and them could be for you? You believe that big man in town putting it up and down the little motorcade could be for you? Fool yourself. Progress has been made. Ask anybody from any country in the Caribbean, from the Bahamas to Curacao, which is the most progressive nation in the Caribbean, and everybody will tell you, St. Kitts-Nevis.
And he's so right. Ask anybody, which is the most progressive country in the Caribbean, and they will say, St. Kitts and Nevis. You get it? Straight. And so here in Central Basseterre, it is clear that Marcella is the best choice. It is very clear that I'm the best choice in Central Basseterre. Somebody said to me, girl, you're one strong woman. Everybody colluding against me. All the big shots colluding. I so powerful that I'm the only person who could bring Simmons and Dwyer together. Two sworn enemies. I alone could bring them together. All of the big shots you see walk into Central Basseterre now. Money and beer flowing through Central Basseterre, overflowing because of the big shot connections in Central Basseterre. And what I bring to you, I bring to you my love. Love of you, the people of Central Basseterre. And I've shown it through service. I've served you long before I ran for political office. I taught extra classes of English when I was a teacher so many moons ago. And if you don't believe and you don't know, ask Sam Conde, I taught him English too. Ask him. He was in one of my extra classes that I used to have privately. And I had those classes free of course, because I am a servant of the people. Long before I run for any political office, when I was doing that, politics was not even on my agenda. So I'm not doing that for politics. As you know, I have served my country in sport. I was the president of the Netball Association. I held every office in there. I ran a club for 10 years, looking after young women in this country in a very positive way, not just in sport, in all areas of their lives. All the time, serving Central Basseterre and my country, free of cost. Volunteered my time to coach at the national level for years, free of cost. At no point in time did I think that I'm going to run for political office. So I've been a servant of the people all my life. Right here in my community, as him told you, that when the court down there was being fixed, I used to live next door to it, next to Dorset Park. We were there helping because it was a community effort to rebuild that court that you call Dorset basketball court. And those people from this area would know, I used to be a hitters pom-pom girl. Every time hitters playing, we up there jumping up for hitters. Hitters is a community team. And I want to congratulate hitters on 35 years or 36 years. And I want to commend James Barman Hanley, who is the glue. Without that, hitters could never be celebrating 35 or 36 years. Put your hands together for Barman. Because Barman is also a community man. He watch no face. He understands that it's a community effort. And so I've been serving my community throughout. I live up here and I know all the alley them up here. All. As a matter of fact, one of the things we want to do is have a naming of some of these alleys and streets up here. When we introduce a Market Street Festival, We will work with the Market Street Committee to deal with that. The alley I used most was one down there, a man named Mandizia used to live through there, who had a kind of funny walk, used to do tailoring. Every day to walk through the alley to go school and come back. Through Mandizia alley, I used to come to this one up here to look for Bridges. You know, me and Bridges go way back. Bridges used to live through the alley. And so, me and Bridges, through the alley, all the alleys up here, you know. So, I am a community person. But you got some people come down and they want to run for political office. They ain't know nothing about where they say they live. They never know so much. Ali was in McKnight, that's a surprise. Now they round and round getting out breakfast with their mother to try to see if they could buy out Central Basseterre people. But Central Basseterre people will not be bought. So I have news for them. News for them. He is the face of the plantocracy. He is the face of the plantocracy. And that is why you have all them big shot people coming in Central Basseterre now, throwing the money in all the Spanish bars and all the other bars. And I want to warn the Spanish people. I want to warn them. Money and beer flowing in Central Basseterre. But in spite of all of that, they will get a licking in Central Basseterre because people know who they really are. I mean, this guy is so disrespectful. Say he can put on some letter on my step. Some letter, say all kind of disrespectful things in the letter, and then say he challenging me to a debate. So I just tear up the letter, put it in a nice envelope with his name, and send it back to him. Out of order, they don't know the place. They don't know who they're playing with. Completely out of order. So, and I leave them with that. I just want to say to you that since, and even before I was elected, I had a camp that I was running in the McKnight area, which is still going on now for about 8 years. Future leaders, because we care about our children. And last year, along with the Market Street Committee, we had our first camp here in Dorset Park for the Market Street area. Working along with them, and we know that will continue. As him told you about so many things, and I don't want to repeat them, but I have to remind you about Dorset Park, because it's so close to my heart. And I want to really say how much I appreciate what Cooley is doing for Dorset Park. Cooley and her family. She's a real community person. And what people like Mui and his mom, they're doing. These people go out and volunteer their time. They're not getting paid. Them is real community people. Not these here who, because they want to be in charge of the country, one come down, say them and the mother give no breakfast to buy vote. Where were they all along? And they got a lot of money. Where were they all along? The community was there. They had no use for it. But now, because they want to be in charge of the country, they want to come and say they're doing this, doing that, doing that. They think people stupid. They forget that they had no use for Bradshaw. Bradshaw, who was the representative of this very Central Basseterre. They forget that they're the ones when Labour and Bradshaw tried to bring in comprehensive education so that you and your children and your family members could now break the social barrier at the grammar school and everybody got together. What did you hear Dwyer say? Took the children out. Send them out. They don't want your children and their children to come together. How come they're looking vote from you now? How come they're looking vote from you? When Bradshaw took the land, they were the landowners. They were part of the landowners. They took Bradshaw to court, fighting Bradshaw tooth and nail. So Bradshaw could not get the land for you, the people, to get your house and land where you're getting today. How come they like you now? That is the face of the plantocracy. Don't forget, whenever you see them, they are the face of the plantocracy. Do not be fooled, ordinary people. Don't be fooled. And so I want to commend the Market Street Committee for the work that they do. People like Miss Lawrence, Camilla Lawrence, Dr. Garfield Alexander, and also for those in Upper Market Street like Horse and Willie and Nikki and Bless and Kester, and all those who saw here. They're true community people. They look after the elderly in the area. They look after the children in the area. And so we continue to work with them to improve Market Street and the other areas around here. And so going forward, we will support an after-school program right there in what we call the James Barman Hanley Center there in Dorset Park. An after-school program for the people of this area assisted by the Market Street Committee. As part of our urbanization and redevelopment plan, we will ensure that all these lots you see through these alleys up here that are abandoned, we'll make an effort to see if we could buy them out and put proper housing in its place for the people of Market Street and the other areas. Because right now, as you know, there's too much, every time you clean them, more garbage comes. We have to be really, our people, more concerned about health and our health situation, especially when it comes to garbage. And so I said before that we will introduce a Market Street Festival because Market Street is rich with culture. As you heard Prudencia tonight singing the national anthem so sweetly. And you can see what happening with Bagnall coming out of Market Street. And we used to have people like Samuel, the big drum man, coming from up here. We have to teach our people about the culture. And we have to teach them about Cromwell Bory and all that he did in poetry and drama. And so we really want to have a cultural renaissance in Central Basseterre. And as part of that, we'll be launching steel pan as well. And I want to say we have one of the best steel pan people coming out of this area, Melly Hewlett. And so we'll be launching pan. And also we'll be launching Central Orchestra. We have some instruments already. We're going to get the rest this month. I've already identified a young man from this area who will head that Central Orchestra as we try to find ways and means to ensure that our young people are involved in wholesome activity. And so we expect to get an orchestra coming out of Central Basseterre and a couple of steel pans coming out of Central Basseterre as well. These are just a few of the programs and plans that we have for going forward. But very shortly, our vision for Central Basseterre will be released. And so we look forward to the release of that vision for Central Basseterre. And I want you to be a part of it. And so I say to you, as election day approaches, remain vigilant. Go to your neighbors. Go to every alley, every nook and cranny, and tell all the people why they should vote for Labour. Because your cause is right and your cause is just. Make sure everybody is aboard the Labour train and make sure everybody is crossing over, as Bless tell you. Cross over. Cross over, there's room for you. And I said to you, Labour people, give these people a chance. We have some complaints where some of them want to come, but some of us Labour people want to still, attack them, abuse them. We have to be accepting and welcome them. Welcome them. So I'm appealing to you. Welcome them. Because we want to ensure that everybody votes for Labour. Because we see what's happening in this country. This country is number one. And so I said to you, whenever the election is called, the election day already announced, make sure that you're ready. Make sure that you're vigilant. Take everybody to the polls. Vote for Marcella Liburd in Central Basseterre. Vote for Marcella in Central Basseterre. Vote for the hand. No confusion and mix up in a lot of symbols and so on. One symbol, the hand. One leader, Douglas. One mission. One St. Kitts-Nevis. One country. One love. Love you. Good night.